Welcome to the Very Merry Life podcast, unfiltered, unscripted, and always relatable as fuck. I'm your host, Mary Hendricks, and you might know me from Instagram as That Relatable AF Mama, who hopefully feels like an old friend at this point. And if not, hang tight and join in as things get real, honest, and probably a bit too TMI as I, and the help of some amazing guests, dive into all things mom life, marriage, sex, and more. No experts, just real life moms talking real life things. So get ready to laugh lots, cry occasionally, and leave feeling seen, supported, and inspired. Making friends is hard enough as an adult, let alone as a mom, but all of that changes right here and now. So hang on, lean in, virtually clink whatever glass you have nearby with mine, and let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Very Merry podcast. Just to set the mood for today, I want to paint a little picture for you. Imagine you have about 15 different obnoxious baby toys playing in the background while simultaneously hearing the sound of a godforsaken tablet or Cocomelon playing. You have your kids asking, Mom, 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 why? Fucking, I don't know, screaming in the background. Someone's crying. Someone's hanging on you. Someone wants to eat at your boob or wants a bottle. Someone is wanting another snack, even though they just said they weren't hungry for dinner. You have a million and one things to do. Your house looks like a bomb went off. You feel like you're carrying the mental load and no one else understands. Meanwhile, your husband comes home from work, or you both arrive at the same exact time. It's your first time seeing each other. He wants to greet you with intimacy and you are like, fuck off. Get away from me. Do not touch me, because if someone else touches me additionally, I'm going to explode. That is overstimulation, and it is god awful. And I don't think it is something that we were prepared for in motherhood. I know I wasn't, and I know a lot of other women feel the same exact way. And unfortunately, it is the thing that has caused us to second guess ourselves, to feel guilty and think that we are bad moms for it. And it just is not true. And truth be told, you don't even need to be a mom to feel overstimulated. This is something that I think all of us can relate to. I just think it's motherhood that sort of brings it out a little bit harsher. And it's something that we harp on a little bit more because it causes us to react in ways that we sometimes cannot control. It causes us to be reactive, and it causes us to not think, and it causes us to be impulsive and impatient and harsh. And a lot of us are needing work to stop it and to deal with it. We don't know how. So that's what today's episode is going to be on. And I hope you're ready. So let's go. All right, guys. So I have Katie here from Mommy Needs More Wine. And this is an account that I have connected with. I don't even know how long we've been connected.
It feels like forever, Mary. It feels like I've known you forever.
I know. So we, first of all, her handle is just, it wins my heart. Mommy Needs More Wine. If you guys have been following me long enough on Instagram and just know me well enough, you know, red wine has a very special place in my life. And we both had our third babies right around the same time. I think you had in 3 weeks before I did.
Yeah.
And we both have 3 kids, and we just are living very parallel lives, except she's down in sunny Florida while I am up in, sunny
Dirty Jersey.
Dirty Jersey. So I'm going to let Katie say hello, and then we're going to talk overstimulation, because that shit is.
Oh, isn't it? Isn't it lovely?
Yes, we're going to get into it, but you should have just seen me before we got on here. All 3 kids were awake. I woke up at the same time and I was like, go to bed.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah. Well, hello to all of your followers. Obviously, I'm an enormous fan of you. Literally everything you do touches to gold. You're hilarious. And even the fact that you wanted me on this podcast, it's an honor to be here. So excited to be chatting with you. Like I said, I feel like I've known you forever. I feel like if we actually lived in the same town, it would be dangerous. I think Kevin and Keith would, or Bird, if you follow me, Bird, they would be like, God help me.
It'd probably be like, you guys need to stop hanging out together.
Yeah, seriously.
It probably wouldn't be good. I'd probably have a lot of hangovers.
Oh yeah.
We hung out.
Oh, it would just be, it's probably the universe knew that we shouldn't be living in the same area. So
good.
Yeah.
Works.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Well, so let's talk overstimulation. And I think we can get
so much we can say about that. But your kids are what ages?
So I have my oldest is Luke. He's 8.
Okay.
Declan, my middle child, my spiciest child. He's 5. And then Bryn, she's 6 months old, almost 7 months old. But the overstimulation in my house, I think my overstimulation is met every day by like 8 a.m. I don't know about you, but like I've reached like peak stimulation capacity, but like definitely before 9 a.m. every morning. It's just total fucking chaos.
Oh yeah. Well, and it depends on the morning. Yeah, the other morning, when was it? Yesterday? What day is it? I don't even know. It's after the Labor Day weekend, so I'm all thrown off. It was either yesterday or the day before. But Kev's been out of town. He just got home today, and he's been traveling a bunch.
Yep.
And I got up early with what's her name? Do you know your kid's name? I don't.
No,
Haley.
never.
Haley got me up early, and I was up with her, and I was she's chill. Like I think at third babies, you're third. I know Bryn.
Like the chillest. I'm like, where did you fucking come from? And thank God, because if I needed a break after the 2 crazy boys. Like I seriously, it's like total bedlam at all times. Yeah. She is like my very peaceful, chill child. I'm so happy.
And that's Haley. Haley's chill until she's not. Like she's either all or nothing, but she's easygoing. She can go with the flow. But we came downstairs and all of a sudden I heard Spencer's door open, and then I hear crying. And then I also hear Cassidy's door open, and they're crying, and Cassidy comes down right before Spencer does, who is still crying. It's not even 7:15. And I was like, what happened? And she said that Spencer wanted to give her a hug, so she shoved him.
Oh my God. Cassidy is spicy.
It is, but I was like, way to start the morning. Are you kidding?
Right? Like, were you even out of bed yet? You probably were still
well, I was in bed. I was out of bed, but I was just heating up my first cup of coffee, and Spencer likes to scream. That's his thing. He's my screaming kid, and I cannot. I can't.
You're the screaming.
Do it.
It basically like I feel it in my asshole when they scream. I'm just like, oh my God, like please stop.
Well, and that's the thing with like overstimulation. I think I never knew that existed until I had kids. I had no idea that was.
I mean, I vividly remember, and now I'm one of 3. You're one of how many?
I'm one of 4. I had a sister that passed away, but one of 3.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah. So like, but I like vividly remember my childhood, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She's a nurse. And then, 3 of us, my dad was a railroad engineer. So like she was home with us all the time. Yeah. And like, I vividly remember her being like, in her New York accent, like, I don't care where the fuck you go. I don't care what the fuck you're doing, but you better get out of my fucking face. Like, and I remember thinking, wow, like, what did we do all day? But it was, I swear, overstimulation. Like she needed her Zen time, and that time was bedtime, right? Like, just like all of us mothers, like, I think we're just all counting down the minutes until bedtime rolls around, because the overstimulation is unparalleled to most things in motherhood. I think that is like my biggest complaint, that it's like so much noise. I never realized like maybe it's like do I have a sensory issue?
Yeah.
But no, it's just motherhood. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
No, well, and that's what I used to, because I think it really hit after I had my second, and that was during COVID. Spencer, I think.
Yeah, oh God. Yeah. I mean, I give you so much credit.
Compiled. I don't even I just was talking to Kevin about this the other day. I really don't remember much of Spencer's infancy. And I don't think I had postpartum. Like I hear that with people who have postpartum depression, saying like, I can't remember a lot of those moments because postpartum depression happened. I think it was COVID. I think everyone was
absolutely
during those moments.
I mean, it was totally insane. Like I was working in a hospital system, with COVID patients. Like it was wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I give credit to anyone that had infants and babies during COVID. That my boys were young, but they weren't, in diapers.
Yeah.
Like I could still, and I live in South Florida. So, we were able to it's like the Wild West down here, especially during COVID. So yeah, the overstimulation, well, we were all home with our kids.
Yeah.
Like there was no escaping anywhere. Like parks were closed. I mean, all you had was your home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was, I mean,
but, and I think that's like the big thing. Cause I know we were just talking about this today over on Instagram that you're pretty new at like being stay at home full.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have to be honest, like I am definitely a disorganized human. And I think I capitalize on that. You know, I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like I'm not the perfect mother. Is there such thing as a perfect mother? But I will say, I've never done the whole stay at home with the kids thing. And I have to be honest, like I've really questioned myself if I'm capable of it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like I like working. I've been an ultrasound tech for close to 17 years. I like, you know, did I like getting up and going to work? No, but do I like what I do? Absolutely. But being home with them is not as glorious and glamorous as I thought it would be.
No.
And I think a lot of that is, it is the overstimulation. It's the second their little feet hit the ground, it is just, I mean, you know, you're the doer, right? As mothers, we're the doers.
Yeah.
And I have a fabulous husband. I feel like you do too. Yeah. He does a lot, but like, he's not mom, you know?
No. Well, and
so a lot of this
big thing, the default parent, you're the default parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's especially like Kev goes away for work. My husband's a firefighter. He does shift work. He's gone every third day for 24 hours. And then on top, sometimes he takes 48-hour shifts. And, you know, so it literally like we're living like a, you know, single mom life for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Shout out to the single moms. Like you guys are rock stars. But yeah, like the overstimulation is just, it's something I never thought about. Like no one tells you, you're going to love motherhood. And by the way, you're going to be overstimulated. Like no one ever told me that, right? Like no one's ever like, the kids are going to be screaming all day and you're going to want to rip your fucking eyelashes off one by one. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cassidy yesterday came in. She's like, Mom, can you yell at the dog like you usually do? Because I think the dog was eating one of like Spencer's chicken nuggets or something. And I was like, how is that? And she's like, Lucy, stop. And I'm like,
we'll be back after a quick break. Eye-Opening Moments podcasts are real-life stories of adversity, encounters, and perspectives. They are moments that can lift your spirits, give you some food for thought, or move you. For the introspective mind that likes to reflect, discover, and find solutions or meaning in a complex life, listen to Eye-Opening Moments podcasts.
Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Isn't it great when they emulate us? Like, wow, I mean, I laugh, but then I'm like, oh shit. Like,
no, well, and then I feel bad because like when she does that, I'm like at the end of the night, I'm upstairs and I'm like, am I fucking up my kids right now?
Oh, I mean, that's like a daily conversation. Yeah. Daily conversation with myself. I'm like, what childhood trauma are they gonna experience today? Like,
just need to give them enough to be funny. That's all.
Yeah, right. Like, see, I think that's why, like, you know, why we vibe, because I've had enough childhood trauma, not awful, but like enough to be like, you know what? And I'm a middle child, so I do think birth order has a lot to do with that.
Same, completely, me too. So it's all good.
Yeah. So yeah, but no, I mean, I will say, the boys at these ages now, they're 8 and 5.
No,
it's more of an annoying thing. Like, you know, Cass and Spencer, they're still little, right? Like I feel like they're still like little babies in a way.
Yeah.
And like, so it's like almost like they can't help it. Like my boys can help it.
Yeah.
So it's like they really do know right from wrong. And tonight, like I really am trying, emphasis on trying, to be the gentle parent that I really want to be, right? None of us want to scream and yell at our children, right? Yeah. Like I always feel like shit after I scream at them. On occasion when I've had to like spank them or like grab them, like it makes me feel like shit. But you know, I think that that's a part of motherhood, and that's a part that everyone has to learn, right? Well, like we're all learning
with even spanking. Like I've talked about this before, and I think it's such a hot topic. Like people, this is why it's not Instagram. We're not on Instagram for this reason, that we can. And people are exactly. I'm sure someone's going to throw a shit fit for hearing this. I've done it. I did it today. Yeah. I did it today. Yeah. I'm not proud of that, but also when you are Oh God, when you are so heightened by everything with like noises, I think you mentioned today and I said, I am touched out. Like you said,
yeah, you did.
Got home and I was like, nope, he's not coming anywhere. Yep. I have a baby that exclusively breastfeeds. She refuses to take a bottle. So I have someone constantly on me every 2 hours. I have to but every half an hour. I'm literally, I don't have any brain power left. And when like my son decides to scream at the top of his lungs or throw his pasta on the floor, you just can't help it sometimes. And then and you're going to beat yourself up afterwards. You're going to just,
I mean, it's honestly, I mean, when I've done it, I always feel like shit, but now they're like, remember that time you hit me? And I'm like, whoa. Or actually the biggest thing with that was, my oldest one, he said, Mom, when you hit me, you make me feel stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this was literally like maybe a few months ago. And that really was a turning point for me. Cause I was like, wow, I don't ever want my child to ever think that I think they're dumb or stupid, So, but it's hard. Sometimes it's knee jerk, right?
Oh, completely. Like, that's where it is for me. Cause I think when we were talking during COVID, when I was really, I hit a low point during all that shit. I know I completely did a 180 with my parenting and figuring it out. And I kind of took a hard look at myself as to what's going on. Cause I found that majority of the time when I do that, when there is a knee jerk reaction like that, or even if there isn't a knee jerk reaction, and I really thought about it and I did it, something was going on with me. Like something was going on with me. And then I just had to take a deep look and be like, what's happening? Why are you stressed? What's going on that you need to better plan? So for me, it was like work piling up. Like this has become my work. So for this, like if I wasn't planned enough and my kids were interrupting me during stuff, I'd be like, why am I snappy? It's probably because I wasn't prepared. Like I should have been
totally
on that end, or I need to have my ducks in a better row. But that's the same thing with Cassidy. Even I think it's been a hot sec with her. Cassie's turned a leaf, so I don't really have to do that with her.
Yeah.
Anymore. I can look at her and then she'll stop. But I know when I had a moment of like really not being nice and she just said, you scare me. And I was like, that? Like, I don't want that. I don't want that for you. So that's when I like really took a deep breath and usually just remove myself, just walk out.
Well, and that's what I've been doing is just like, all right, let me go into the other room, collect myself and just walk away. Now tonight, I made 3 different dinners for 3 different children because I'm a sucker. And my middle one was like, I want pasta. And I looked at him and I was like, you do? He's like, yeah, made him pasta. He freaked the fuck out that I made him pasta. I really just wanted to beat the shit out of him right in my head. I'm like, I'm going to wring this kid by his neck. But I poured myself a glass of wine. I had to dig really deep, really, really deep to not scream and yell. And I just kept reinforcing that this is a decision. I'm talking calmly, right? Like he's screaming that I put pasta on his plate. And, I'm like, how dare you talk to me like this? It's unacceptable. But then I put the onus on him. Like because you're acting like this, now you don't get dessert. And this is a decision you're making. Like I'm trying to really
consequence,
psychoanalyze things because I want to break generational curses. Like my mom's Italian. So like everything she screamed, she threw things at us. Like, I never felt unloved, but there was that fear base, right? Like I'm a little scared of her that I'm not going to want to piss her off again type of deal.
Yeah.
And I do think a little fear is good, but like the overstimulation is what gets me to that. I want to spank them or I'm going to pull their hair or I'm going to grab them by the arm. Like,
and you know, and that's a thing. And that's the same thing with me. So like I'll usually call Kev, like, especially if it's like a moment when it doesn't, after it happens, I always call Kev and I feel like shit. Or at the end of the night, we'll sit down and I will cry because I'm like, I'm home with my kids majority of the time. If they're going to have memories, it's probably going to be of me of doing
right.
So for me, I'm like, I don't want this. And I'll cry. And Kev is old school. We're all pretty much the same age of all of us kind of coming from this like background. And Kev is like, Mary, sometimes you got to pop them. And I'm like, absolutely not. I was like, I don't want to. I was like, like your parenting weren't bust. Like, I don't know necessarily the experts I want to take that advice from, but I was like, I don't want that. And my parents were pretty good. I don't think my mom slapped me when I was like 13 for calling her a bitch. That's literally, and that was deserved.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame her there, Mary. I mean, my mother, I mean, I think the last time she ever spanked me or she was a big hair puller and pincher.
Yeah.
But like, like I remember being like, well, I'm not going to do that again. Right. Like after you get slapped or, but there's, and also children they're so vastly different. Like I'm sure your kids are so different. Like I could tell Luke one thing and he'll listen, but Declan's like, fuck you, bitch. Like seriously, like in his head, I swear he says that. Like I swear. Yeah. Yeah. So
no, well,
I mean,
different. Like Cassidy definitely was my kid where I needed a little bit more of like for example, Cassidy tried running into traffic once.
Oh yeah. That's fun. Right.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. So like that it's scary and you want to beat the shit out of them because they,
well, and
they don't know.
I didn't even care. I told Kevin, I've told people this story before. She ran into a busy road and I grabbed her right before a car literally hit her and she thought it was funny. God. And I think the moment I grabbed her, I went like this.
Yeah.
And I was telling someone about it later and I was like, you know what? Because I needed something to scare the shit out of her. Like she didn't find any fear in what had just happened. And yet I needed to be the fear because it was either a car or me.
Yeah. I'm so happy it was you, by the way.
I was like, so I'd rather it be that. Like, but Spencer is like, it doesn't matter. He doesn't care. Like I have to figure out Spencer is my little sensitive boy where when he's really having a meltdown, it doesn't help him neither of my kids, like when they're having meltdowns, neither of them, it really doesn't help that when I elevate shit, if they're having meltdown, then I elevate it and then it just gets worse and worse. Spencer is the kid. The moment he freaks out, I take a deep breath because his screams will put me over the edge. And I ask him for a hug. And the moment I said, do you need a hug? He immediately drops and comes over and he's gone.
I really did practice that tonight. I swear to God, because my kids, both my boys are very sensitive boys. They're both an Aries sign. I don't know if anyone listening is into that stuff, but like very stubborn, thick-headed, but like very soft, like softies.
Yeah.
And he really was having a meltdown. And here I am trying to feed the 6-month-old who's like screaming, right? And then I have the other one who's actually being very good because I think he looked at everything, was like, well, I'm not going to add on to this shit pile. And I did say, do you want a hug? Let me hug you. And he, no. And then by the end, he wanted a hug.
Yeah.
And I think that, little kids, big feelings, right? Like they just don't know the world. We do kind of, right? I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm 38 years old. Yeah. But, I am trying to have a little bit more compassion and I'm trying to understand it from a 5-year-old standpoint or however old they are, right? Like, there's certain things that, we are the parents. And isn't that such a scary feeling? Like sometimes I'm like, who gave me these children to parent? Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I think most days I'm just like, it's really just a free for all. I do give credit to the parents that do feel like they have it all together. I know I fucking don't.
I don't think there's any. I honestly think any parent that is saying that they fully think they have it together is full of shit. They're full of
1,000,000%
full of shit.
I think every day is just like, it's like a coin toss. Like, what's today going to bring us?
Yeah, like I think for me, I think I have gotten to a point where I don't have my shit together. I'm just okay at saying that now. And I'm okay at knowing that my day is going to be a complete and epic clusterfuck and it's going to be what it is because I'm tired of apologizing for it and I'm tired of making excuses for it. So for me, I'm just like, it is what it is. I'm not trying, I don't hold myself to a standard anymore. Like I'm trying to make it and keep us all alive and hopefully give my children some fond memories to look back on. And
that's whatever they may be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we all just we set this impossible standard in our head and we just completely forget that it doesn't exist and it doesn't. And for what reason? Like there's
I mean, we're 80s babies. You're younger than me. So
I'm 90. I was born in
90. Well, excuse me, bitch. Okay. But I think, as and I've gotten messages from, older women, older followers that are sweet, but like, well, I did it this way, or even like family members, aunts, right? They're, well, I didn't, I had dinner on the table every night at 5 p.m. and we all sat down as a family. Well, good for fucking you. This is my life and this is what works for us. Like, I don't know about you, Mary, but I like to eat my dinner when it's not like sitting in like my heart or my chest. Like Keith and I actually eat dinner after the kids most nights because
Kevin,
first of all, they eat so early, right? I'm usually guzzling wine by the time they're done. Yeah. But like, yeah, so every parent's different. And I think there's this like unattainable, it's like the older generations, they just think that everything they did was right. But actually, I think that what we're doing and the mothers that we are and what our platforms have given us is that we're letting other women know, hey, it's okay to be overstimulated. It's okay to not like your kids all the time. We still love them, but it doesn't mean we always have to like them. Yeah. And I think back in olden days, people didn't want to admit that. There was a Stepford Wives thing that people were trying to, it's unattainable for most, not, and I see a lot, I'm sure you do too, a lot of influencers out there making it look like a fucking breeze. And although that's great for them.
I mean, I think I sometimes, and I never even try to do it, but at the same time too, it shocks me when you said Bryn's losing her shit. I've never seen Bryn losing her shit, but I shouldn't ever see Bryn losing her shit. Like that's something I always remind people of. Is like my kids are absolutely losing their fucking mind. I'm not going to take my phone out and be like, let me record this for the
exactly.
So you're never going to see it, but it happens all the time.
All the time. She has her witching hour. I think she's teething. Isn't Haley teething too?
Oh, she's got 1, 2, 33, 2 teeth.
Oh yeah, I saw that little tootie.
Yeah, that one, and then the other one's coming through. But yeah, so that's what I always say. It's like it's going to look like as perfect as we can kind of craft it because we're going to capture the good moments, but it's like, we're forgetting that it's a highlight reel and we're comparing our behind the scenes to that all happening.
100%.
I think that's the same thing with older generations too, is that they're comparing what they thought, because my mom used to always say it. She's like, you never know what's going on behind someone's closed doors, because she knew that it was just like, this is what you put out to the world. They didn't have social media. So them talking and saying like, all of our kids sit down and have meals together, was probably full of shit. No one was doing
exactly. My own mother, I mean, she's like, she is a fabulous cook. We really did sit down every night as a family and she cooked every meal. I mean, I look at her now and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that to yourself? And she's like, I don't know. It just, I didn't mind it. But now I feel like, I don't have to be like my mother, although my mother is literally gold platinum in my head, where like she's untouchable. Yeah. But there are also things like, I know that she was stressed out about that, right? Like always cooking and, she was always cleaning. Like she really, I think because why I'm such a slob is because she literally did everything. Like I never made my bed. I never did my laundry. That's why I fucking hate it so much. I never fucking did it growing up.
Well, same with me. My mom still, even now, we were just on vacation. My mom did all our laundry. She loves it.
See?
Absolutely loves
it. My
like,
mother-in-law loves it. She's like, I'll come over and do your laundry any day. I mean, I lived in New York City for so many years. I would literally go home on the weekends with a whole duffel bag of laundry because I was like, no, I'm not fucking doing this. Like I brought it home to my mother. Like whoever is listening that loves laundry, like how, why, and what planet are you from?
My sister lives in the city. She's paying a service to do her laundry.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I've done that too.
Period undies. And she's like,
yeah, right.
She's like,
what about all the other awful things as a single woman? Your sheets. That's for a whole nother conversation, Mary. Lives before our husbands and children. That would be an X-rated, I feel like an X-rated podcast.
We're going to have to do that. Oh God. I'll have to have you come on for sex confessions. I want to do that for another.
Oh, I could write a book.
It's good.
I mean, my husband, that's for another, but he knows everything about, unfortunately, I told him everything. Fortunately and unfortunately, I've told him a little too much, but if anyone knows me, they know that my sexual past is very colorful. So I have no qualms about it either. So
we're gonna do this then.
That's for another podcast.
Oh, we're doing it.
But as I think you're killing it as a mother, like really, I mean, I think we really do need to uplift moms and let people know. And I think we're doing a good job on social media, like letting people know, like, hey, it's hard. Yeah. This shit's fucking hard. Yeah. I don't think that, everyone's like, you're going to love your baby so much. And like, there's so much good, right? There's all good about children. I love everything about it, even the shitty parts.
Yeah.
But, I think that letting people know that overstimulation happens and, not loving motherhood all the time happens too. Yeah, I mean, and I wish more people said, you're going to love it, but there's going to be so many challenges. And now I try to tell new moms that without scaring them, right? It's like, you're going to love it. Follow my page. Go follow Mary. There's so many great mom bloggers.
Well, because I think people twist words when you say it's hard and things like that. People just think that you're complaining or that you're saying it's not worth it. And that's not the case. I'm just saying It's really fucking hard. This is really not a
because we all want to raise good humans, right? I think at the end of the day, we all want good kids, and we want to be proud of our children. And we're not, and I think that's another thing. We're not always going to be proud of our children. Yeah. I'm learning that now. Like, every day my kindergartner gets a behavior report every day. And let me tell you, it's just thank God for wine, Mary. That's all. Thank God for wine. I love that child. I'm telling you, these middle children, Spencer and Declan, whatever they're going to do with their lives, it's going to be something amazing. But let's just hope they don't get into juvie before anything else. So
Spencer's starting to turn on me. He's my sweet little boy, but he's turning 3 in a week and a half. And he's cute. But 3, I forgot about 3, but 3 is different with boys. Like girls and boys are different. I think, and you'll see that as Bryn starts getting older, but I can tell you right now, girls and boys are different completely. Just the way, like Cassidy was a little poop and she gave me a run for my money, but there was some sort of like, I don't know. It wasn't as like, I don't give a fuck. Like Spencer looked at me and like, I'll tell him no, just look at me and be like,
yeah, but he doesn't give a fuck. I can guarantee you.
No, he just,
boy mom life is, as a boy mom for up until 6 months ago, it was boy mom life. Like I was like tattoo it on my chest, boy mom. Yeah. And it is absolute insanity. And some days I was like, how do I do this? But now, I got blessed with this little girl and she's just like chef's kisses. Like I can't say anything bad about this baby, but everyone's like, wait till she's a teenager. So what? We all go through the shitty teenager phase,
I hate that.
As long as she doesn't scream in my face at 7:30 in the morning, like these boys do, like, where's my fucking muffins? Like, I can't like these kids.
Well, it's like the whole wait till, and that's the thing. It's like this podcast, like us talking overstimulation. It's not so much. And that's the thing I always like to say is like, honesty is not negativity. We're not saying wait until this happens to you and all this. Chances are you're going to get overstimulated at some point. If you're a brand new, you're listening, but you can laugh about it. That has been, like I said, I don't have my shit figured out. I've just gotten really good at just riding the wave of all of this madness, and I can laugh at it. And I can admit that I do a lot of things wrong and I'm trying, and that's the important thing. So it's not like, wait until you're overstimulated. It's just, you'll get overstimulated, but that's okay. That's okay.
Exactly. Like, let's normalize talking about the imperfections of motherhood and that you're going to have great days. You're going to have bad days. And, there's so much, thank God the conversation now is, mental health. Yeah. There's a lot to say about that with motherhood. I think a lot of women in the past have suffered in silence. Yeah. We don't have to suffer in silence anymore. We can be very transparent and open and say, the shit is hard. I love my kids. I don't always like my kids. And you can openly admit that. And I think, thank God that we live in this age where we can, and we're not going to be judged for it. I think, like you said, like anyone that says that they've got this shit figured out, they're fucking lying. None of us do.
Kids, or they don't have kids.
Or they don't have kids. Like, I love that. I mean, think about all the things that you said before you had kids. Like, I always said I would never litter my house with baby toys. There's like a whole, I'm looking at it right now, a whole corner dedicated to baby toys. I have a whole, it's like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I always love that.
Yeah.
You know, my kids will never be, they'll never watch TV for they're going to have wood only toys, no plastic toys. Like, get the fuck out of here.
No.
Like,
have fun.
Yeah, have fun.
Have fun.
No, not for me.
No, no, because at some point you just gotta, for me, I'm like, whatever, let's just keep the ball rolling and keep us all sane and happy. That's all I care about at this point.
I just care about their happiness. I want them to know how fucking loved they are.
Yeah.
I let them know every day how loved they are. I don't recall my mom being very demonstrative with love. I never felt unloved. Like, I always felt very loved by my mom, but my dad was so physically loving to us.
Yeah.
And I think my mom she was, like you said, like, tapped out, right? Like, she couldn't give any more.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, and this is not, my mom is incredible. Like, if you follow me, like, I'm obsessed with my mother. She's does no wrong, but like,
I've seen your stories with your parents.
Oh, they're great. They're the best. They really are the best. I mean, they literally had poured their heart and soul into us children, and we were all really good humans.
Yeah.
But, you know, we all make mistakes, and that it was a testament to their hard work as parents. Like, I look at my parents and I'm like, wow, like, if I could be half of the mother that my mom is, like, she literally has gone to bat for me multiple times. Like, she is always in my corner. And I feel like, honestly, like, our kids need nothing more than that, right? Just our support and our love.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And if we yell here and there, we're still good moms. If we feed them fucking chicken nuggets and mac and cheese 5 days, 7 days out of the week, so fucking what?
Well, for me, I'd rather my kids know this side of me. I'd rather them see this, that way they are fully prepared and know that mommy has bad moments too, because they're going to have them. They're going to have a lot of them. And I'd rather them know, and I'd rather them see me work through it so that they learn that it's okay to, like, admit when shit goes wrong, when, like I said, I've spanked my kids before and I felt terrible, and I told them, I'm so sorry. I'm mommy shouldn't hit, and hitting nice and things like that. And they know, like, mommy's trying to do better. And then I do.
Yeah.
And
because I always want them to know, like, I make mistakes too. Like, I actually always apologize too. If I ever spank them, I'm always like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I lost my cool, because now we're working on, like, self-control.
Yep.
Like, with our emotions, because you know, my middle one is in school now, so, like, there's a lot of, like, he has no self-control. He's 5, right? Yep. Like, he just started kindergarten. But I think that lesson is, I mean, we take that through our adulthood too. Like, self-control, like, it's hard. Yeah. It's really hard, especially with motherhood. Like, some days, like, you know, you lose your shit.
Yeah.
But I always apologize, because I do recognize that I think that is so great as parents to be like, hey, like, I'm sorry. I don't ever remember my parents apologizing for anything. Now my mom does. She's like, oh my God, I was so tough on you guys. And, you know, I had to be, but, you know, I'm so sorry. I was so mean sometimes. Like, and I'm like, Mom, it's okay. Like, we love the shit out of you. But, like, you know, now I think she's going back and thinking, whoa,
what did I do?
Like, she literally had polyps on her vocal cords. She was screaming so much that she had to get a surgery. Like, swear to God. The doctor's like, do you yell a lot? And she's like, yeah, I actually do. So,
yeah. That's maybe the reason why I need to calm my ass down. Lord have mercy.
Right?
Cass yelled back at me, and I'm like, okay.
I know. Right when they yell back, like, what the fuck do you do? Like, obviously, like, another knee jerk, like, don't you fucking say that to me. You can't, like, but then I'm like, but I'm yelling at them, right? It's like, stop yelling. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. Either way.
I mean,
anyway.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
We're doing it. You're killing it. I'm so proud of you.
Well,
like I said,
with you. I'm
so happy to be on this podcast.
Everyone that's listening, that's, like, the biggest thing that I can say. It's just, like, that's exactly what this podcast is going to be, is, like, I don't have tangible answers as to how to really do this, but the more you talk about it and the more you find a community of just admitting these things, the better support you have of realizing that you're not alone. And then the next time you have a freak out and stuff like that, you know that it's not just you. And I think that's a big thing is like, when I know it's not just me and I know other families are going through this, I think that somehow just makes it better, because I feel like, especially with overstimulation and just being touched out and everything's just bothering you, sometimes it just feels like your world is this, like it's just a little bubble and you're the only one experiencing it, and you're doing something wrong. Like I know when I feel that way, I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. Like, I don't know what I'm doing to deserve this, but it's my fault. And everyone's going through it at some point. They're going through this. And that's why it's just important to talk about.
It is. And thank you so much for having me on here. I think that talking about this stuff is going to make such a difference for so many moms and dads. If you're listening, like, this happens to dads too, not as often as it happens to mothers, but it does. And I think, opening the conversation to this, letting people know that it's okay. You're still a good mom, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Katie, well, thank you for being on. So why don't you tell everyone where they can find you, where they can follow you at?
You could follow me at mommyneeds_more wine. I'm not half as funny as Mary, but I will try to be. But you're going to see a lot of what we're just talked about, just real motherhood. And I think that there shouldn't be any other thing than that, just realness. So the bad, the good, and everything in between.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
But thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast. And I look forward to more of your podcasts.
Yeah. Thanks, Katie.
Another episode down and way more to go. But thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to help support this podcast, I would love for you to subscribe. I'd love for you to share it with others and post about it on your own social media, or leave a rating and review. I cannot tell you how helpful and how appreciated those things are for me. Of course, to catch all the latest from me, you can follow me over on Instagram at The Very Merry Life, over on TikTok, The Very Merry Life. And even if you wanted to check out my monthly newsletter, you can do so by subscribing over at theverymerrylife.com. I'll see you next week. Stay tuned for more honest, raw, real chit chat. I have some amazing moms lined up coming on, and shit's going to get fun. So buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be good.